Hey everybody, welcome back. So you're joining me for a little bit of pre-holiday baking because, well, it's a busy time of year. Got family Christmas next week, then we got Christmas the week after. It's a whole thing. It's super fun, but I gotta try to keep up here. So you're joining me again with the tasks and the things and the stuffs. So welcome back. So a while ago, I started thinking about Operation Mockingbird and realizing it's really not just the news, right? It's not just what we saw during COVID where every news network just parrots the same talking point. It's actually in all media, and it's anything that they want us to believe, anything they want us to normalize. And by they, I mean the very corrupt government in which we live and reside under and can't escape. Can't vote out because it's the people behind the scenes that are pulling it, right? The deep state. Anyway, so once you realize that Operation Mockingbird actually pertains to all media, music, television, all of that, a new fun game arises. Go back and you start watching older TV shows and think, what were they trying to convince us was normal in this TV show? What is it that they were trying to brainwash us into? It's kind of my favorite pastime. TV's my background noise while I do things like, well, this. Making biscuits right now, by the way. And I just started thinking about it. And so I've started going back and watching old shows. So I'm going to break down a few of them and share a few things that I've noticed and I'm sure other people have noticed. And by all means, chime in the comment section with anything else you feel that they've tried to normalize over the years and try to tell us over the years because, like I said, it's kind of a fun game. So welcome back to the Green Eyed Girl Podcast. All right, so one of the biggest ones, grew up watching Home Improvement, right? Tim Allen, great dude. And I really just wanted something funny that I could watch that would give me a chuckle, that was lighthearted. So I thought, what better than Home Improvement, really? It's my little countertop oven situation over here, if you wonder what I'm doing. Anyway, so I started watching Home Improvement. And I only made it a few episodes before I had to turn it off because the wife in that show is horrible. So think back to the 90s. Stay-at-home moms were pretty common, right? My mom was. But apparently, that's not what the ambiguous they wanted. The deep state, our lovely overlords, our elites. It's not what they wanted. Because they had to put in the nagging shrew of a wife into that television show who did nothing but make fun of her husband, tell him he needed to help around the house, that she wanted to get a job, all while he actually brought in the income and took care of the family and all of that. But there were always the humiliation rituals of him needing to clean the house and him needing to participate because, well, he lives there too. So they created this absolute harpy of a woman. And she's so insufferable, I had to stop watching the show. She's forever yelling at him and making fun of him, talking down to him in front of other people and just to other people, making fun of him, making him the butt of every joke. All while this man has given her a beautiful home, keeps her car maintained, takes good care of the family, is raising boys. And she's just an absolute harpy. So we trained an entire generation of men that's totally normal to have a woman like that. A woman who wants to work, not just stay home. A woman who expects that when he comes home after a long day, he had better help do the dishes and he had better help maintain the house because, well, he lives there too. No, sorry, I reject that. So I was watching the show. I'm like, we trained an entire generation of young men because a lot of young men watched that show. You know, it had Jonathan Taylor Thomas and all the other boys that were super popular in that day and age, plus Tim Allen. Who doesn't love Tim Allen, right? But we brainwashed a whole generation of boys into believing that, yeah, that's how you're going to get treated by a wife. It's pretty sick. So, of course, I had to stop watching it because all it did was make me really angry and disappoint my husband because he was the one who recommended the show because, you know, hey, it was a great, family-friendly, wholesome show, right? Apparently, we didn't remember things correctly. When you start looking at TV shows in this framework and start seeing what it is that they want you to believe, you kind of start just waking up to the game. So now we see a bunch of poor wife jack guys out here with horrific women who say the same shit that came out on that TV show. Well, I should work. I'm just as valuable as you in the same way. Women can do everything that men can do. And you need to help clean the house. And you need to do this. And just demand and demand and demand and make men miserable. Right? That's what my generation is known for. I'm a millennial. Literally what my generation's known for is like the worst of the nagging wives. And not only nagging wives, but running their men down behind their back wives. It is, sadly, what millennials are known for, millennial women. They just got completely eaten alive by feminism. But the men got programmed through a show like Tool Time, which theoretically presented a masculine man. But he's not really. It's not masculine to get treated that way on the daily and just brush it off. It's kind of a few episodes ago, I talked about the guy who told me, wives nag, it's okay. The government told you that it was okay. They used television to program your brain into believing that that is okay, that that is normal, that that is natural, and it's not. So then the other one, my favorite show is Gilmore Girls. It has been for years. When I get tired of everything else, it's great background noise because I know it by heart. So, I like this show. When I was young, I was like, oh, man, how nice would it be to be friends with my mom like that? Right? That's kind of the whole shtick. Be friends with your daughter. You don't have to overly mom. When you overly mom, you can't have an adult relationship later. You can't be friends. Emily and Lorelai will always be enemies. But Lorelai and Rory, that's where it's at. You can be a single mom who's best friends with your daughter. She'll still grow up to be the best behaved kid who goes to Yale, who's just a super overachiever and just phenomenal. She doesn't need a man. Because, of course, you know, in the original series, Rory doesn't marry the guy, Logan, that proposes to her, who could have given her a lovely life and the ability to work in her chosen career path, which is journalism is ridiculous, right? It's getting better now that there's independent journalists again. But working for all these big networks. But then they gave the game away. They came back 10 years later, right? With the Gilmore Girls, A Year in the Life back in the day. I say back in the day, it was like 6 years ago now. I think it came out in like 2019, right before all the COVID stuff hit and, you know, life just took a turn. So they showed women that you don't need a man. You can be independent. You can go to school. You can work full time. You can have this excellent kid. You can do these things. Which, of course, you can't. You just can't. It's a TV show, okay? It's miserable, and the statistics on single motherhood are catastrophic. So they programmed my whole generation, okay? We loved this show. The women of my generation love this show. And it shows because they brought back 10 years later the miniseries Gilmore Girls: A Year in Their Life. But then they showed what actually happens to the women who are raised this way. But they did it 10 years later, and they did it to try to make that seem normal. So the original series ends. Rory's going off to be the great grand journalist. She's turned down a marriage proposal. She's a strong, independent woman. She's been raised right by her mom. And then it comes back, and she's in her 30s, and her entire life has crashed and burned. The guy she should have married is still in the picture, but he's with someone else, so she's just going to be miserable. She's bouncing around, doesn't know what to do with her life, and it's just shocking. And when that came out, my mom called and she said, "Told you." Because we had disagreements on the show. I liked the show. My mom's like, "No, you can't raise kids like that because they don't actually end up doing anything. They're not actually capable of doing anything because they didn't have any foundation to their beliefs." And of course, at the time, I was like, my mom, But then it turned out she was freaking right. And they proved it. They proved it out for all of us. Because it's not normal for a mid-30s woman to just have her entire life crash and burn. She should have been married and well taken care of and had a nice solid foundation. But instead, she had no morals and nothing. Just nothing. Some career that didn't mean anything, that she couldn't actually make a living in, which is like 99% of college, by the way. So you see how they wanted to program us into the strong, independent woman, and then when everybody's lives were crashing and burning, they were like, "Oh, crap. Quick, let's try to make this seem normal." Guys, it's not normal. I lived that life, and I'm here to tell you it's not normal. I live my best life now, in this house, with my husband, with the moral foundation that my family set forth when I was young. I walked away from it, but my parents were right, guys. But they use TV shows to implant things and make things seem normal to you. And it's not until later when you wake up to it that you start realizing what they tried to do to your brain when you were young. And this goes for everything. You want gays to seem normal in your existence? Put a whole bunch of them in a TV show. Let's call it Will and Grace. Gay guy and a girl, best friends. Totally normal. It's not normal. Ask Milo Yiannopoulos. This is what they do. So I highly encourage you to go back and watch some of the shows you watched when you were young with the lens of what is it they were trying to program me with back then. What did I end up believing because they made it seem normal? It's not normal. Single motherhood's not normal. A wife nagging the crap out of her husband is not normal. It's not healthy. It's not functional. They can lie to you all day, every day, and try to tell you that it is, but it's still a lie. Please don't mind my very annoying oven. It's all still a lie. But it was a lie they got you to believe. This is another reason why it's so vitally important to know what your children are watching at all times. Because if they programmed you, what are they programming your kid with? You should be watching everything your kids are going to watch before they watch it, through the lens of, what do the elites want my children to believe? So, I hope you enjoy your day. I hope you go find a TV show to see what they tried to program into your mind back in the day. It's a really fun game, like I said, especially when it's just background noise. But do it, go back. Rewatch your favorite childhood TV shows or movies from way back when and enjoy the game.